How's it going, everyone? I'm up here at Mount Baker ski area, and I figured the sun's making me squint, but I'll try my best because I know I hate when I see myself on video and I'm squinting, but of course I'm pretty much looking right into the sun. But I figured I'd do a vlog on this 8-minute lift ride up to the top, and I'm sure a lot of you out there have your fears. Some of you are afraid of heights, some of you are afraid of spiders, some of you may be afraid of thunderstorms. We all have our fears, and of course some of us have social anxiety. But we got to remember, a lot of us out there, although our mental health may not be at 100%, if we still have good physical health, we can't take that for granted. Because what I'm going to talk about in this vlog is actually my biggest fear. My biggest fear is actually losing my physical health and becoming so sick to the point where I'm like in a hospital, hooked up to tubes, constantly in pain. But that's not bad enough. I'm talking being alone and going through all of that. That is my biggest fear. And that is a big reason why I'm probably always going to the doctor every time that I feel like there's something wrong with me, because I want to, if I were to have anything, I'd want to catch it soon enough so that at least I could intervene. Because it all comes down to everything, it's all me trying to avoid my biggest fear, which is becoming physically ill and alone. And we have to admit, there are people out there who are physically ill and have no one by their side. And actually, the next Spartan race I do, I'm actually gonna kind of like in the opening intro, I'm actually gonna dedicate that race. I'm gonna be like, to all you nurses and doctors who work at hospitals, for any of you working with patients who have no family or friends to visit or support them during their illness, this race is for them. Because that is definitely, it's one thing to have one or the other. Yes, it's gonna suck having a physical illness, and it sucks having mental illness. But when you combine both of them, I imagine that's pretty much hell on earth. So I know I'm not doing the greatest in terms of mental health, but then again, I'm able to come up here. This is definitely a different environment from my last blogging video where I had post-workout blues from going to the gym. It's a lot different when skiing or doing something that involves, adrenaline, speed, airtime, fresh snow. It's a whole different thing. Granted, if it's overly crowded, sometimes I might get a little bit of that feeling I experienced at the gym, but it's fairly short-lived, and I'll just go to a different part of the mountain and just do my thing. But yeah, so all of you out there, I'm sure you guys have your fears, but I'm sure to a lot of, not just myself, but I'm sure there's a lot of you out there who probably fear not only having a mental illness, but also coming down with a physical illness. Because cancer, musculoskeletal disorders, perhaps, an undetected genetic disease, they can strike at any time. Illness knows no boundaries. And the reason why I feel that people who have family or friends by their side, I actually learned something in one of my undergraduate classes. It's called the gate theory. It's like for instance, human touch, especially from like a loved one, it actually helps to block pain. It blocks the pain receptors, and it blocks like the pain signals from some of the pain signals from reaching the brain. Because I think the feeling of touch actually overrides the pain, which is I found pretty interesting. Which just goes to show that even if you are in pain, you have a physical illness. I do believe having family by your side, a loved one, friends, it could mean the difference between life or death. And that's why I really feel that gate control theory, it can help people recover from injury quicker, illness a lot faster. So we some of us have to do our best to be alone. Hopefully we won't be alone the rest of our lives, but that's just another motivation to really, for us single people out there, whether we're male or female, to find our significant other, to have family with us or friends, you know, and in times of need. But also friendship comes two ways. You also got to be there for them if something happens for them. It's a two-way thing, and that's something that hopefully through some life coaching this summer I'll learn to be a better exchange, feelings, reciprocal. I can't think of the term, but yeah, I figure once I'm done with graduate school, that's all I'm gonna focus on is my mental health. Chances are I may never fully recover. It's gonna take months, maybe years to gain some substantial progress, but I figure anything is better than nothing, and that's pretty much going to be my focus, just to at least be able to be somewhat more functional outside of when I'm exercising. So that's kind of like what I found interesting about this gate control theory, and how human touch can actually block the pain receptors from sending pain up to the brain. And it's a fact. It's something I learned in one of my undergraduate classes. I think that it's like the gate control theory. And there's a couple of other mechanisms involved too in helping to decrease pain, but that's the main one I remember. And that's another reason why I really want to get my Colombian citizenship. Unfortunately, my letter's been ignored, which is another reason why I've been feeling down. So it's like, it's bad enough being ignored on a dating site, but when you're ignored, but then when you've written a letter twice and you've been ignored, well, I guess it comes with the turf. I'm not really anyone big, so of course they're just probably thinking, oh, this guy's just another tourist athlete. We've got an Olympics level skier for our country, but that's all right. I'll still get my citizenship. It's just going to be a while, and that's going to help too, because if I do come down with illness, at least I'll be able to get health care in Colombia as a Colombian citizen. And so that's another motivating factor. So if something does happen, at least I can be with family down there, because all my family lives in Colombia. So, and plus too, I want to start being able to compete for Colombia too. That is pretty much the only side of the family I've ever known. But I'm coming to the top of the lift here, so I'm going to have to cut this blog short. Actually, I think it's been long enough, but hope you guys enjoyed the scenery. Thank you all for watching, and enjoy the rest of the day wherever you're at. I wanted to say one last thing. The background you're seeing through pretty much all of my blog, and what you see out in front of you, is all Mount Baker's backcountry terrain, and how I would love to be able to ski it. But the thing preventing me from skiing is they have a backcountry policy where it's mandatory to have a buddy. You cannot go out there solo. And how I would love to one day be able to go out there and shred Mount Baker's backcountry. But yep, gotta find myself some ski buddies first of all, and hopefully that day will come soon enough. But yeah, just look at all that vast terrain out there. Looks like a lot of fun. Some high-speed turns, some good cliff drops, airs to be had, powder snow. So just thought I'd close out with that. Mount Baker's definitely got some of the best backcountry skiing there is, and hopefully there'll be the day when you'll see me making some turns out there.